Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Performance Analytics Academy. We're going to welcome to everybody who's coming for the first time, and welcome back for everybody who's returning. Before we get started in our main presentation today and then Q&A, we're going to run through a few logistics. So first of all, this session is for you, so please ask questions. We're recording this, and we're going to post this onto YouTube and into the community either later today or tomorrow. But as we're going, please ask questions. The session is for you to get some fresh ideas, better understanding today where to ask your questions and where to find answers to those, more importantly. If you are asking questions, please use the Q&A feature in Zoom rather than the chat. That makes sure that we're able to see every question, make sure it gets answered. Things can get lost in the chat. So if you have any questions as we're going, please ask them as we're going. We'll answer them as we can, and then at the end, we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. But please use that Zoom Q&A feature. I'm Adam Stout, an Outbound Product Manager. I'll be your host for today. Thomas Davis is going to be speaking to us again about a topic that we get asked a lot of questions on. So I'm looking forward to getting to hear all the details we have about the enablement we have available for you. Thomas is an Outbound Product Manager as well for Platform and Now Intelligence. So this session, again, it's going to be recorded. It'll be in the community and posted on the YouTube. If you got forwarded this meeting or you found us on YouTube, take a look in the community and you will find an article that lists all the previous sessions. And it actually looks really, really nice. If you haven't gone back and looked at it, we've cleaned it up quite a bit. But it has all links to all the previous recordings, the decks, and common links that we talk about in there. So really useful to have as a reference if you're looking for a topic to see what we've talked about in the past. We also post the schedule for the upcoming sessions. As a note, we have changed this slightly. So the event that everybody had registered for before, we've replaced that with an article. So we highly recommend that you subscribe to the article, to the new article that's in the community that lists everything. And instead of using one event that we've been able to subscribe to before, we're actually putting an event in for every session. And that's what shows up better in the calendars in the community and elsewhere. So subscribe to the new article. It's something you're going to need to do now so that you get notified when we post the recording and when we add a new session. We will update that single article over and over again so you get those. But then again, there is a new event that you can subscribe to for each session. So every 2 weeks, there'll be a new event that you'll see in the calendar. And as we're going, we always like to plug that we're going to talk a lot more about this and some other things, but Now Learning is available. Lots of free training in there. All the K20 labs are there. So if you are looking to get more hands-on that we can get from the Performance Analytics Academy, take a look at what's in Now Learning to really get some more hands-on exposure with some of the things we're talking about. And my presentation ended. So as we go through, the one thing I wanted to add before we get started with the main session is that there are other academies out there. So if you are doing other things in ServiceNow, which most of us are, there is a mobile academy and there is a virtual academy. You'll find those in the community. Sessions very similar to this, run every other week to give you more exposure to topics dealing with virtual agent and dealing with mobile. And with that, I want to turn it over to Thomas to talk us through what enablement is out there for you for Now Intelligence. There's a lot more than there's a lot of stuff out there that I know not everybody knows about. So we wanted to spend some time and go through where you can get those answers to your questions. Thomas, are you there?
I'm here. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate it. So yeah, like Adam said, today we're going to talk about just all the different sources that are out there to help you as a customer, and actually even broader than performance analytics and reporting. So there may be some things that you see today that could help you in other avenues within the platform, or give you the ability to point someone within your business somewhere that they need to go. So not a lot of demo per se today. It's more so just informational in the sense of, hey, did you know about these particular things? And you may know about all of these, but hopefully we'll give you some additional things that you can do within those particular sources that will help make things better for you within your platform, and as a developer or whatever your role is within your business, hopefully help you with that. So with that, what we'll be talking about today is the different sources that are out there. And there are quite a few, and there may even be more than what we're seeing here on the screen. I know that quite a few businesses have created sort of their own types of things that are out there, and quite often, even in the community, as we talk about that, there are customers within businesses that actually have wrote blogs and articles as well that is really good information as well. So that is something that you can definitely do as a customer if you have something that is of great value and would help somebody else. Then we definitely recommend that you utilize that as well. So these are the things that we're going to talk about. In no specific order, we just want to talk about all of them and just bring up some different things to you so you're aware of what is out there and to help you in your everyday world, sort of in ServiceNow. There we go. All right. So the first one is Now Learning, which is obviously huge. So this is where you can attain quite a bit of learning information and just become better within ServiceNow as a platform, and also performance analytics and reporting. And some of the things that we want to highlight in this is just those things: the ability to have instructor-led training. There's some on demand, and then there's also on demand / instructor training, kind of a mix of both bags, I guess you could say. And then obviously within living in the world of COVID, most of that is virtual and on demand type information like that. But the biggest thing is, are you aware of what's out there? Are you looking at that information? And especially if you're new to performance analytics and reporting, or even ServiceNow, there's some things that you can definitely learn or look at, some at your own pace, which makes it a lot easier in your day-to-day world. So definitely recommend that you look at these things, and because it would definitely make you a stronger person within the platform itself, and specifically performance analytics and reporting. And there's a link, and if you don't have an account, I suggest you go out there and get an account. Everyone should have an account, and hopefully you're able to find things that you need. And we'll talk a little bit more about knowledge later, but knowledge is there as well. So previous knowledge that we had, Knowledge 20, all of those sessions that were available are still there. So take advantage of those as well. So register for instructor-led classes. So obviously this is hit or miss right now because of just things that are going on just in the world. So keep that in mind when you think of these. But if you look at the path that we have here on the screen, this is really the way that we recommend, or the order that we recommend that you look at things. So if you're new to ServiceNow, the ServiceNow fundamentals is core, really, and getting that thing, it will help you become more familiar with the platform as a whole, a very holistic look, which will then, of course, help you in performance analytics and reporting, because you'll become familiar with just the way that the platform works, and what some icons mean, and being able to navigate through those types of things will help you in those. So we definitely recommend, if you can, to look at that course first, which will then lead directly into our performance analytics fundamentals class, which is, just as it says, it's that fundamental. It's your first taste, your first dive into performance analytics and reporting, and it gives you a lot of great information. And if you can get an instructor-led for that, whenever those open up, highly recommend that. It's a 2-day course that you can do, and really great trainers that give really good information there. And then obviously after that would be the more advanced one. So take that in that order, and that actually will help prep you for the performance analytics certification, if that's something that you're trying to go to. And we'll look at that here in a second as well. But again, that's another course that's going to go even deeper than the fundamentals course, and give you a lot of great information. A lot of things that I think if people had the ability, and I know a lot of times it comes down to just timing and the way that the business works, but if people could take these courses early on, I think a lot of the questions that we get in the community would probably be answered within those. So if you have the ability to do that, one, if you're new, by all means do it. If you've been around for a while and you're really good, I have been doing PA for about 5 years now, and after about 3 years, I actually took the fundamentals class, and I felt as though I was really at a good place. But I learned some things in that fundamentals class, and I definitely learned some things in the advanced class. So if you can take those classes, by all means, highly recommend that you do that. So now we're kind of, the same thing. It's the self-paced and combination of self-paced instructor-led learning paths. And that is sort of a new thing that we're doing here at ServiceNow. So Some of these are self-paced, so you can do the ServiceNow fundamentals now at a self-pace. But you could also, if you wanted to, you could do what's called Now Assist with ServiceNow fundamentals. And basically what that is there's some self-paced there along with some instructor time. So if you need some instructor, you'd like to have both, everybody learns differently. Now Assist will actually help you with that. And there are some other Now Assist courses that are out there, and obviously more that will come in the future. But that's a really good way of taking some time, not all jammed packed at one time, but it gives you the ability to do some self-paced and then get on some calls with some instructor led, which is really great as well. And then of course, the Performance Analytics Application Specialist, that is basically the course that follows up after many courses that will lead you towards the certification if that is something that you would like to have. It is a high level learning path, and it's got a lot of stuff that's in it, a lot of stuff that we recommend prior to you actually doing the certification itself. So again, it just encompasses so much, and you'll see that here in a second, that even well-versed people in ServiceNow as it relates to performance analytics will definitely learn some things inside of that coursework as well. So micro certifications, there's a few of those that are out there. So the Performance Analytics Micro Certification Assessment, basically after you do the Performance Analytics Essentials, you can actually do the micro certification. And that is a quick 10, 15 question open book type style test that you can actually get a micro certification for, certificate with that. And we have the same thing for virtual agent and also predictive intelligence, which align closely with our same organization. So there's some things that you can definitely do with the two of those and enhance it with performance analytics. But those are some micro certs that are out there. Again, if you're looking to get those things, definitely look at these courses and look at these micro certs, and it'll actually tell you what courses you should take in order to complete those micro certs. So a lot of free self-paced classes that we have that are right in Now Learning. So there's the Essentials course that I was talking about, which, when you take that, it will open up the door for that micro cert if you choose to take that. And again, it is really for that brand new person, a really quick dive into PA, and gives you a high level look at some things that are in there. And you definitely would go from there to other courses that we've mentioned already to get even smarter around the PA itself. And then you have just some ones that are directly related to PA. So widgets and formula indicators and responsive dashboards and KPI Composer. So those are ones that are directly associated to something within the performance analytics itself. So if you're someone that needs a little bit more help with widgets or more information, then go out here and get these courses. And again, that's the same with all of these. So when I attach this deck to the actual event in the community, all of these are linked, so you can click directly on them and go directly to that, so you can get more information about all of those. So again, really quick hitters, and there's more that are out there. Now Learning has a lot of information, so I would definitely recommend that you do some looking around in there, doing some searching. You'll probably be surprised at some things that you can find out there. But again, with these being directly associated to PA, definitely recommend that you go out there and look at these and take these free self-paced classes. So we were talking about micro certs a little bit earlier. So what's the difference between the two? So certifications are proctored. So those are situations where you can do it on your own laptop or computer, but you have to have a camera that's on you, and there obviously is a testing fee with that, 60 to 90 minutes, and those are release specific. So every time that a new release comes out, some questions will be added or some questions will be removed based on what's in that new release. And then micro certs, they're non-proctored, they're free, like I said, 10, 15 questions, and they're open books. So micro certs quite often will help you get an idea before you actually go and take certs. But by no means will a micro cert prepare you for specifically the PA certification that is out there. You definitely need to do all of the coursework that is out there for that. But that's the difference between those two. So just in case you didn't know, it'll help you there. So going back to the Certified Application Specialist in Performance Analytics. So here is basically to the right, you can see all of that coursework that we recommend before actually going and taking that certification. So, the purpose of it is, that successful candidate that has all the skills and knowledge, to perform the configuration, implementation, and maintenance of ServiceNow performance analytics solutions. So if you're that person, if you're in that role, then definitely prep for the exam based on the coursework that's here, and that link will take you directly to the PDF that'll tell you all that same information. And make sure that you take the prerequisites. There are prerequisites that you have to have in order to be approved to take that certification. And then the field experience. Obviously there's nothing like that, so if you can get that, it's highly recommended that you get that before you even think about doing this. And if you already have that, then this is something that you should look at doing, definitely. But make sure that you look at all those, the mandatory path completion, getting that done before you can actually do it. But if you can get it, it's a really great thing. And there's a select few of people that have that. So it's very powerful. It helps you a lot. It really throws some things at you that makes you think, but it's going to give you the ability to take those types of questions that you got and make you think. So when you come back within your own instance, you can actually do some really good things. So that was all of Now Learning. So let's go into ServiceNow documentation. So the doc site is very, very powerful, and it is release specific. There are different releases, which means there are documents that are based on those releases, and the previous ones are there as well. That's the link that you can get to it. Again, this is one of those sites where you can have an account. So I would highly suggest that you get an account. So you can always go in there and look at it, because you can look for things. You can make it very specific to what you're looking for. And when you search, it'll look in those specific things. So definitely utilize that. So a lot of documentation, and also the ability, for some developer type information. So again, when you're searching there, highly recommend that you look at that. If you have a question that you need to put into the community, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you do a little bit of time and search within the doc site, you may find the answer that you're looking for. So definitely do that prior to, the next step of maybe putting a question in the community or whatnot. If you're not able to find what you're looking for, maybe you have a more advanced question, then by all means, go to the community and put the information there. So, and being a developer, if you're in that role, or, you're trying to do even more with PA, or even your instance as a whole, look at the developer site as well as the means to do that. So there's the content is always improved upon and expanded, like I said, with every release, and they're willing to take feedback on that. So if you find that there's a doc that's out there that was either misleading, you found confusing, or you thought maybe something else should be added to that, then right there on the docs, you can see here in the little demo that on the thumbs up or thumbs down, put something in there, tell them what you found with the doc or whatnot, and let them have that information. And the docs team will definitely look at that. And if they need to fix something, they definitely will. If they need to enhance something, they definitely will. But it takes the feedback from you as a customer in order for us to make the doc site really, really well. So, and again, you can set preferences. So you can see at the top in that first image there. So I'm looking for things that are parish driven. That's all. When I search, those are the things that I want to look for. So you can do some, direct things to make, when you searching, come back to just the information that you want. But again, utilize the doc site as much as you can.
And we have been there.
So, why use the developer site? Listen, the amount of information that you can get from there, API documentation, guides, and, get a free personal developer instance. So, one of those things is quite often everybody will have a dev, training, or, a prod instance or whatnot. But if you can have your own sort of instance where you can really play around with that and do some things on your own, again, that's one of those things that's highly recommended. That'll make you even stronger in performance analytics and even other things within the instance itself. So, and then there's quite a few developer focused labs that you can actually get from that developer site as well. So definitely visit that. If you don't have an account, you should definitely get that. And again, if you don't have a personal instance, you should do that as well. And here we actually look at that. So, you can look at the personal developer instance PDI guide. It gives you information. And then you can see here in the demo where you can actually create a personal instance right on the fly, right from that website. So it'll take a few seconds, not that long, and then it'll come back and there you are. So there's your URL with your username and password. And now you can go in there and do anything that you want and, really get better as a PA specialist or anything else, like I said, in the instance. So next, let's go to the community. So again, the community, just like the docs, is just a place that has just an abundance of information and knowledge and examples of things that you can do. Quite often, if a question that you have, it may have already been answered in the community, already been asked in the community, or there may be a blog or an article that's already out there that, again, will help you in that specific question. So if this is something that you're familiar with, I get it, but I think that, putting a lot more time into the community and what's actually available out there would do everybody great. So there's the link. If you don't have an account, you should definitely have an account. Make sure you set that up. So as it relates to performance analytics specifically, so this is our homepage that you can see here on the screen. And, there's 4 or 6 boxes, that are valuable as it relates to you getting kickstarted with, performance analytics, or, if you're trying to look for training, and there's the Performance Analytics Academy that Adam was referring to, which is what we're on now. So go there and you can get all those previous sessions, and then give us any ideas that you have about any other ones that you'll need. The essential training, which is a lot of what we talked about earlier. When you go to that, you'll actually see those things. The power of the community, which basically is a table of contents as it relates to everything that's out there in the community related to performance analytics. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to break that down into different things to help your search a little bit. So if there are things that are directly related to performance analytics, those articles and blogs are there. We have a reporting, we have an advanced, there's different things there where we've tried to break that down for you to help you even more. And then obviously, if you have a question, if you went through all of those things and you cannot find the solution to what your question is, by all means, ask a question. We're definitely not going to tell you not to ask a question. We just ask for you to do a little bit of research prior to make sure that it's not already out there, but definitely ask the questions that you have. And then the featured content will always be our next Performance Analytics Academy, or any other featured doc that we decide, or featured, doc that we've decided to put out there, whether it be an article, blog, event, or whatnot. So this, go there. There's just an abundance of information that is on this. Take advantage of it and utilize it as much as you possibly can. And if you have any ideas, just let us know that. Adam and myself, you can definitely tag us in a question, or, email or whatnot, and let us know what you're thinking. So this is directly to the Performance Analytics Academy. So that page has changed. This is the new link, but if you click on that button that you saw on the previous page, Performance Analytics Academy, it'll take you directly there. So this is going to show, future and prior sessions. And like Adam said, we have cleaned it up quite a bit. And there will be a new event for every academy that we have going forward. So, if you have subscribed to the page, you'll get that information when it comes out. But again, we're trying to clean that up and make it even easier for you to look and find the things that you need. And honestly, I can't tell you how many times that I actually reference an academy in a question that's been asked in the community, because I know that something in that academy would definitely answer that. And then all the other things that are in that academy would make that the answer for that question even better. So make sure that you go there and look at the existing things that are out there. And then, of course, we have the YouTube channel, which you can see right there. But all of the academies inside there is a link directly to that YouTube video that we have out there. So utilize this, is very powerful. So blogs and articles, and here is the page that I was saying, the power of the community. So you can see here that we broke those down in different categories to help you when you search, but there is just an abundance of articles and blogs, not only wrote by us as the PAR team, but also customers that have wrote things that are out there. So again, this is another source for not only training and, things like that, but also, again, when you have that question, utilize what's out there to see if it's there. And then if you do have a question, the big thing is a screenshot is worth 1,000 words. And so if you can put that into your question, it makes things a lot easier. Obviously, we understand that there's, some, secretive information that's on there. So just black that out. No big deal. But if we can see the nuts and bolts of what you have going on, it would definitely help us and other people in the community when answering the question. So if you can do that, it's highly recommended. So the next is the idea portal. If you've not utilized this because you just haven't had to yet, go out there and look. So idea portal is for anything that you would like to see that is maybe not already in performance analytics, and you utilize that, or even the instance itself. It's your way as a customer to be able to give that information to us, to our developers, to put on that list to preview and see if this is something that we're going to do, or see if we can make it happen in a future release or whatnot. And you can actually go out there and, when you look, you might see something, the same idea that you had that's already out there. And if that's the case, then give it an upvote. So the more votes that it has, the better it's going to, be on that list where the developers will start looking at actually doing that. So this is something that you definitely want to utilize. And again, you can look category specific when you go and look in here. So look for performance analytics, since that's what we're talking about here. And you'll see the things that are already out there, and look through that. And then again, you can upvote it. But if you don't see the question or the idea really, not the question, the idea that you have, then put an idea in. That's what's going to make the platform better for everybody. And obviously we recognize that there's things that the customers think of that maybe we didn't think of. And quite often those are great ideas. So we definitely want to get that on the list for the future releases that we have coming out as around the instance, or, PA specifically. So knowledge is coming upon us again. Obviously, it is going to be virtual again because of the world that we live in. But you should definitely go there and register if you have not. There's a lot of great information that's on there, and a lot of the previous information is out there. Just like in Now Learning, you can get to a lot of the previous labs. And on the knowledge page itself will get you a lot of great information, and then also tell you about what Knowledge 21 is going to be about and all the offerings and whatnot that's out there. Not all of that information is out there yet, but it's being added to daily. So Knowledge 21 does start May 11. There will be on-demand keynotes and breakouts and labs. A lot of those labs will be available, obviously, in Now Learning with a training instance. And then there's obviously creator content. And there's lots of free content. Not everything is, but the majority of the content is free. So again, this is something that you can take advantage of that will literally make you better within the instance in PA specifically. Take advantage of this. So if you've not registered, definitely get out there and do that. And like I said, we'll have some labs and some creator cons. And if you can get in those, would definitely, highly recommend that as well. So another big thing is the Customer Success Center. And this may be something that, some of you are not necessarily aware of. But again, it is a what I would call a hub of just great information around everything holistically around ServiceNow. But there's obviously some things that you can find that are around PA and reporting as well. So go here, in another place where you can create an account, and we'll just give some really good, information about that. So what it does, what we like to say, is connects you to other sites. So it'll always tell you what's new in ServiceNow. It'll help you get started. So if you're a certain role within your instance, it literally can help you get the things that you need, or point you in the direction of the things that you need to be in that particular role. And then also Now Value. So those are things that are out there that help you, have exceptional outcomes. So it's really good information. Events and webinars. So digital live, digital on demand, in person, Knowledge 2020. Of course, Knowledge 21 will be out there as well. Another great source to find those particular things that are out there. And then, of course, help you grow as a Now creator. So that's a really big, thing that we're doing. I mean, literally people are, able to develop, apps or whatnot now with, the way that the platform has become. And if you are interested in looking to do that, then, grow as a Now creator with that. Upgrade easily. It'll tell you about the upgrades that are out there. I know a lot of this may be, you're thinking, well, this is admin specific. But hey, the reality of it is you never know when your job's going to change. And being on the up and up when a new release is out there, maybe your admin doesn't know. Probably uncommon that they wouldn't know, but it's okay with a good reminder because of you knowing the information. And then services. So our successful professionals apply success methodology. So you can go there and look for thousands of successful projects that have already been done. So again, another great site that's going to give you great information. And then another great thing that we have is best practices by type. So we have what's called playbooks and checklists, success maps, quick answers. So again, this is a very holistic look at the ServiceNow platform itself, but there are things that you can find in there that are around performance analytics and reporting. So, playbooks are just what they would, seem to you, instructions and best practices from, some of our most successful customers. A checklist, discover step-by-step action plans that'll help you drive success maps. So these are process and practices to get you the most value from the ServiceNow products. And then quick answers, discover brief, high-level content to help you address specific challenges that you have. So again, this is all within the Customer Success Center. So definitely, if you have not been there, visit that, create an account, and a lot of good information that's out there as well. Now Create. So Now Create is, and we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. So Now Create gives you the ability to do some, really good creation and learn from some of the best and see some examples that are out there, and start doing some creating of your own. Again, you're going to want an account on this page, so definitely do that. So learn about the methodology. How to create. Now Create provides everyone prescriptive guidance, to create exceptional business outcomes. Success packs, a collection of process and assets that give you the ability for great outcomes for your project. And then the assets, what is that? That's the methodology, and can be put, product specific, leading practice, detailed instructions. So again, this is great stuff that helps you, in your path to, whether it be Now Create, whatever it is, just really great sources of information that help you do those specific things. So a lot of information, I know, probably fast, but I think that a good portion of the people on the call probably were familiar with quite a few of these things, but maybe there was some other things that you weren't quite. So, in conclusion, the reality is use what's out there, utilize it, search the community, search the doc site, register for knowledge. These are all things that are going to make you even stronger as it relates to performance analytics, and then holistically, ServiceNow. I would definitely recommend all of you, gurus that are out there, get the PA certification, do the path that you need to do to get that. And, because I know for a fact there's a lot of people on the call that could get that right now, no doubt, because you're great contributors to what we do. Here's the links that we referenced in all of the slides that we had. And, again, not a demo today per se, but I think this is valuable information that sometimes may be overlooked, or you're familiar, but you're not quite familiar with everything that you can get out of all of the enablement products that are out there. So with that, any questions?
So we have a few questions that came in. I did want to try something that we haven't done before and use a poll for some of the things that we showed to make sure we understand how valuable this is for you and what we should look into later. I'm going to try and launch the poll right now. And we have two questions. If you can take a look at it while we're answering some questions about, was there anything in here that you didn't know about before? And then where do you go for help are the two questions. And in multi-select, if you can let us know that's helpful for us as we go forward.
So as we get to get the Q&A up on my screen, but it is not.
Well, I'll ask you the questions. So okay. First one that came in, we have some that came in about unrelated stuff, but first we're going to talk about some of the enablement information.
Okay.
Can you explain the difference between Now Create and a PDI from the developer site?
Ooh. I'm gonna have to lean on you, Adam, for that one.
Well, sure. In the simple, it's the question that comes through in this. Now Create is about resources. So what I go to for Now Create, there's a lot of templates, PowerPoint decks, the collateral you need to be successful as you're rolling things out. With PDI, that's a personal developer instance, and developer is about. I go to developer a lot for any of the API information, some great labs, but definitely if I need an API, if I have an API question because I'm writing a script, developer is absolutely where I'm going to go. And then again, Now Create is more about the rollout, how I manage the project, manage the process, and then the PDI is my specific instance to work on.
Yeah, but I think the two of those could really work together, right? So if you do the Now Create now and you understand the way that you want to roll out, and then you go and sort of put that into action in your PDI, is probably a great sort of action plan.
I think everything in here complements each other. There is some overlap that things come through. Now Creates a lot of it is the project, right? It's not technical. It's a lot of soft skills. It's things we're going to talk about, how we're going to create my project plan to roll it out, and then on the developer, it's I think I know some people on the call. Some people wear both hats and play both roles. But as we're going through, there's slightly different persona that's going to focus in on developer and PDIs. If you're on this call, you probably want a PDI because that is an awesome resource to go, what's in this content pack? I'm going to turn it on. What does this plugin do? I'm going to turn it on. What can my admin see that I can't see? Well, I'm an admin. I can do everything an admin can do. PDIs are just an invaluable resource for you to have to reference what does out of the box look like, what is possible. I use them if I go do a lab. I do my lab in Now Learning. It's great, but then I'll go back and do it myself in my PDI instance. So really useful to get that hands on, and there's just nothing like it. And particularly if we don't have nobody has unlimited instances and I have to deal with my admins, but this is the chance for you to be the admin. And a very nice feature of the PDIs is that you can click a button and Z boot it and reset it back to where it was. So you don't have to be afraid about screwing something up. I wouldn't put custom, it's not connected into your corporate instance. So don't pull data in and do lots of other things, but it is a pure ServiceNow instance for you to understand what comes out of the box. Okay. So we got that one. Here's another one for you, Thomas. Okay. So Now Learning, there is. I've been meaning to go add up how much time there is, how many hours of material there is, but it's several hundred, if not about thousands of hours.
Yeah.
With all this content, what do you do? How do you prioritize what to take? You have any thoughts on?
How so I think that again, I think it's where you're at in your sort of journey. So I think if you're someone new, like I was alluding to earlier, then doing the ServiceNow fundamentals, I think itself is something that had I had the ability to do it all over again, I would have made sure that I would have taken that one first. And I think that helps you just, from a navigational sense in the platform to then go further with the performance analytics fundamentals and advanced. I think that you cannot hurt yourself whatsoever doing those directly after that if we're talking directly about performance analytics. Because like I said, I was someone that was in the product for a little over 3 years. And when I took both fundamentals, believe it or not, and advanced, I learned something about PA, and that's what I was doing was PA. So, and I think that quite often, most businesses are alike. You go. So quite often, maybe you don't get the ability to do that training early on. But if you're in the position where you can do that, then those would be the three that I would go. And then going to the next thing of, looking at those self-paced classes that are out there. And doing those, but then also the knowledge, right? The knowledge labs that are out there from last year. I mean, there's some things in that not only are advanced topics, but also maybe things that you haven't necessarily had to dabble in yet, but you probably know it's coming. And you should look at those as well. So, starting from that very granular perspective of the ServiceNow fundamentals as itself, and then going into the fundamentals and advanced for PA. And then after that, I think it probably will be based on what your business is doing and what you need at the time. But pretty good chance that you're going to be able to find something, whether it be in Now Learning, just standard self-paced courses, or the knowledge labs that are out there. And then even more so, even the academies that we have here, because we quite often have demos where we're actually teaching something in the academy. So don't forget that as a source as well. Hopefully that answers the question, but I think that it's those three core ones I think that are vitally important. And Adam, you may feel different about it, so please, definitely chime in.
I agree with everything you said. I do want to add in too. I think fundamentals is absolutely the most important thing you should take. I think everybody should take. If you're dealing with ServiceNow, you should take fundamentals. I had a hard time saying that a year ago. The class was great, but it was really hard for me to say, well, if you're going to work with ServiceNow, you should go take a 3-day class and pay a few $1,000s for it, right? And who's going to do it? That was a challenge, right? That was a challenge. Last year, we introduced the self-paced ServiceNow fundamentals, which just allows everybody to take it. There's no reason. If you're going to work with ServiceNow, that's going to be part of your day-to-day. You need to take that. Take a few hours, a couple days, because there's still a lot of material there, and do it. Awesome feature or new thing just out now is performance analytics fundamentals, went from only instructor-led or virtual instructor-led to self-paced as well. I believe that was just released
Right.
very, very recently. If you haven't taken that, go back and take it. When you take it, you're going to learn something new. If you've been working with performance analytics for a couple of years, you probably know 90%, but maybe there's 10% you don't know. So I would go through it quickly. And if you are just getting started, you take ServiceNow fundamentals, take performance analytics fundamentals. You can't fully understand performance analytics and reporting and analytics if you don't understand ServiceNow. So let's go take that. It's there. You can do it fast. You don't have to be certified. You don't have to get certified if you don't want to do that. But just go see what's out there. Understanding what's possible helps you understand where you want to get to. But all great stuff. Lots of great content. We are adding more all the time. It's refreshed. As Quebec is coming out, you're going to see the courses be refreshed over the next 2 or 3, 4 weeks after Quebec comes out. You'll see that stuff rolling in. So make sure that when we do the release, check back a little bit later. You can get your hands dirty with some of the new features. It'll be great. And I wanted to segue from that. A question came in about fiscal years and fiscal periods. I think we've answered all the ones about the enablement material. And again, thank you for answering the survey. Most of you have done that. It's very helpful for us to take back. What do we need to talk about more? But the question came in about fiscal periods, fiscal years. You can do it today. I'm sure you can do it today. It's a bit challenging. We're going to be talking about the new Quebec features in about a month when it comes out. Well, the couple academies after we release Quebec, we'll be talking about the features, but the documentation is released. The PDIs, you can get a Quebec instance. So, well, we're not going to talk about it in a lot of detail for another month. You can go look, and one of the features that's in there is fiscal calendars. We are going to talk about that because it's important to pretty much all of us. But fiscal calendars got a big, or custom calendars, flexible calendars, got a big overhaul into reporting and specifically into performance analytics, so that you can now run performance analytics in line with your calendar that you need to for your business. Right? Not everything is going to be the standard wall calendar, but you can now configure performance analytics to match your company's calendars and whatever you need to do. So lots of great stuff in Quebec. That's one of them. We'll talk about it later. But if you want to look at it before now, the documentation is up to date and you can go use it hands-on with the personal developer instance Thomas talked about. Okay, a couple other ones. I'm not going to go through quickly because I don't have all the answers to everything. A question came up about reporting on Scrum, Scrum on Scrum, Scrum of Scrum, and Velocity SDLC material. This does come up, and we'll look at doing a session on SDLC. But the one thing that I will give you as a short answer for this is go look at the content packs. A couple of content packs came out last year with some new visualizations in them. You definitely want to make sure you're looking at what's out of the box in those content packs. So you're not reinventing it, because there is some things that you can't do out of the box, but we were able to do in the content pack. Outside of that, if you have a question, I would post some screenshots into the community so we can really take a look. It's hard to understand how you have it structured without seeing it. So I'm not sure we're going to be able to answer that here, but that seems like a great question for the community after you go look at what's out of the box. The Agile, the Safe content pack, the Agile content pack, a couple big revisions came out last year for that. Okay. Another one where I'm going to refer you to some other material. A question came up about vulnerability response, a vulnerability module, and vulnerability. If you haven't looked at it in our security product line, with vulnerabilities and particularly vulnerable items, it is common for customers to have tens of millions of records. When we look at incidents, the default that we look at for the amount of data, for the number of open incidents, or the number of data, the amount of data we can look at in an indicator source by default is 50,000 records. For vulnerability, open vulnerable items, we need to look at tens of millions. It does. There were some enhancements in Paris for the data collector to make that work better, although it works before then as well. Specifically, there's a setting you're going to change on the indicator source to allow you to look at 10 million records if that's what you need to do. we can do it. We did a session on the data collector. There's been a couple sessions on the data collector. You're definitely going to want to watch that. When you get into the millions and particularly the tens of millions, performance analytics can certainly operate on that, but there's not a lot of room for error. And the first thing is no scripting. The scripts are going to slow down your job too much. So no scripting when we're in there. But outside of that, it absolutely does it. It'll support it. The out-of-the-box configuration should be fine. But as you want to tune it, make sure you go back to those office hour sessions on the data collector. Thomas walked us through that a few sessions ago, and you're going to make sure you need to understand all of that before you go tweaking the out-of-the-box content for vulnerability or anything else that's where the records under consideration are in the millions. Another question about Now Experience. So Now Experience is our workspaces and the new visualization, the new experience for ServiceNow. So what most of us are used to is classic. Now Experience is growing. It's coming out first with the customer service applications, but it's around everywhere. Absolutely, there is a huge refresh of data visualizations. We're going to talk more about those. Dashboarding in the Now Experience and all those data visualizations comes out in Quebec. So again, you can go see the documentation for it. You can go use it on a personal developer instance. But yeah, we're investing a lot into the data visualizations and PA in the Now Experience. A lot of really cool functionalities getting put in there. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. I'm very excited about it. It's an amazing release. For those of us who can get into Now Experience, the sooner the better, because you get a lot of the things that you've been asking for a long time. We have put in to PA and data visualizations and Now Experience, and they may not ever make it back into Classic. Now Experience is certainly the future. And a question about the fiscal periods in Quebec. Question is, are they backward compatible? They're only in Quebec, so it will not be ported back. Your instance will have to be on Quebec to use them. And backward compatible, I believe you're actually going to need to create new indicators to take advantage of them, because now the old numbers are wrong. So if we were surviving with our old calendar, standard calendar, and I want to move to a custom calendar, I believe you're going to have to change indicators to get into that, which does make sense in some ways. But there might be some things to do to move some data around, but ostensibly you're going to create a new indicator with your new calendar and go forward from there. Okay, and one more. A couple more questions are coming in. Please feel free to put them in. We have a few more minutes. A question came in about home pages to dashboard conversions. So it's something that is near to dear in my heart. And Stephen, thank you for putting in the screenshot. I didn't see it. I would go look and answer this. But the question came in, how we want to migrate from home pages to dashboards. How can I see which home pages have been migrated? How can I get a report on which home pages have been migrated, which ones haven't? I believe the home page has a flag. It either has a reference. I think it has a reference to the dashboard that was created, or it has at least a flag. But I think the reference. So if I go to the portal pages, the home pages, I actually can report which ones have been migrated already and the new version. But I will go find the community post, which has a screenshot, I've been told, and I'll answer that question for you. So thank you for posting it in the community with the screenshot, and I'll get that answer for you. So it's a great way to ask a technical question about where is this field, something that's a little bit hard to answer on the fly. And a question came up, a roadmap question. Two roadmap questions that came in. One, is there a plan to apply the time series in less than a day, hourly? Can I see a time series by hour? That is not in Quebec. It's certainly something we're trying to solve on. How do we do that? It's not solved like I said, it's not solved in Quebec. It is something in the roadmap that we'd like to be able to do, but I don't know when exactly that's targeted to. That's the best I have for that. If you want to find that idea in the idea portal or upvote it, the more votes we get in the idea portal, certainly the more we focus in on something. But that one we do know is a common request, particularly for customer service management, but for everything as we go through. Okay. Will the next release allow interactive filters on PA widgets? We're going to answer that in the sessions and what's coming in Quebec. Again, you can go look at the docs. You can go use it today. The short answer for it is it will in Now Experience. In the new UI paradigm, it will not in Classic. It does not in Classic today. I don't know that in Quebec we're not going to backport it or that functionality, but being able to use interactive filters on PA and all of that become unified filters, and there's no difference now between the dashboard breakdown and an interactive filter. You still have a 2 breakdown limit when you're using PA, but the widgets all work together much better. And Now Experience. So the question is, what is Now Experience? Now Experience, we're also going to see you're going to see workspaces and configurable workspaces. There's going to be a lot about this. I'm not going to be able to do it justice in a couple minutes. In the Quebec release, you're going to see a lot about it. We're all going to be talking about it nonstop for the next couple of years. But there's a lot of information coming out in the demos. You're going to see workspace, UI builder, configurable workspaces. All of that stuff is there. You'll see you'll be able to see the demos. You can see a lot of that stuff today in the docs. But Now Experience is the new UI paradigm for us. Another roadmap question about, can I break down by CI? It's not breaking down by CI. It has, well, you want to watch the data collector session that we talked about. And basically, no, I still wouldn't recommend breaking down by CI. That absolutely is the use case we're trying to get to. And it's the same issue with the time and the hour by day. When we solve those, we'll most likely solve those together. I will add in, so we want unlimited amounts of breakdowns, right? So if I have 1 million CIs, I want to break down by 1 million CIs. I want to be able to collect data historically, and I don't want to be restricted to 2 levels of breakdown. And I don't want to be restricted to daily numbers. All of those things are what we're working on, what we're focusing in on. It is not in Quebec, but absolutely that is where we're aiming for on how we can do those things. We hear you loud and clear that stuff's important. Okay, and another question came in. I'm just looking at the chat if anything came in. And one came in about being able to query on business days. That's certainly going to be use case specific on what comes in. So I can't tell you the answer specifically from here, but if you put it in the community, there are ways to do it today. There were some things you can do, some things you can't do. And that is the type of thing when we identify those use cases that it's really great to have in the idea portal to help us understand, I want to be able to do this way, and see where what the other need is for that. But if you put it in the idea portal, we can get some other focus on there. If you put it in the community, if you're trying to understand, how do I do this? It's just in the condition builder. Go ahead and put that in the community, because there might be some tips and tricks we can give you on how to do that. And it might end up being an idea, because I think I know what you're talking about, but I would need to see it. Okay. And as we talk about visualizations and unifying, again, one of our goals. So I talked about how we'd like to get rid of the 2 levels of breakdown. We'd like to be able to do by whatever time increment you want. All of that stuff is in the future that we're working on. The visualization unified filters and unified visualizations, that's all being done in Quebec. Again, you can go take a look at it. But we are trying to remove the distinction between PA and reporting, and we've made a pretty big dent on that in Quebec for Now Experience. So if our classic dashboards are not going to be able to take advantage of it, they're going to look like how they look like. But in the Now Experience world, we're going to see some large improvements. Okay, and then a question came in about catalog task reporting. I don't know if you people if everybody has read the release notes, because there are some improvements for catalog task improvements in Quebec as well. I don't know if it answers your question specifically, but we certainly would want to go take a look at what do we have available in Quebec, which is classic. We're not talking about we've asked a few questions about some of the things that are in there. There's actually a lot more. So again, we're going to spend a month from now a couple of Academy sessions going through all the new features that you have access to. But we certainly would want to look at the catalog variable reporting enhancements that come in Quebec. And then one last question, and then we'll wrap up about sharing certification materials and guides. The best guide that we have is the blueprint. If you go into the community, there, the middle button, one of the buttons we have is our kind of a recommended material that we have, where you go through all the labs. There is not. I have never seen a good cheat sheet that will prepare you for the performance analytics certification exam. You need to go do all the labs. You need to have read the documentation. You need to have 6 months experience. We talk about it in the blueprint. So if you go in Now Learning to where the certification is described, there is a blueprint that describes what experience you should have, what prerequisites you should have done. And there's no quick way of getting there. But in the community, we do have a lot of the knowledge articles, specifically ones that you should do. But that blueprint, you certainly want to read that. The test is not easy. We've been tuning it up, but you really do need to have done all the labs, all the training, and have experience if you want to pass it. I appreciate that everybody who has passed it, that they know what they're talking about. I've taken some of the quite a few of the exams. ServiceNow administrator, when you take the 1 3-day class, you probably can pass the test. That's not the case for performance analytics. Performance analytics, it's really hard to make up for not having the hands-on experience. So you need the experience and you need the labs, the training, all the material. And somebody put in that there are some materials out there. So I'm going to say it wrong, but Udemy, anyway, if you search the web, there are some exam prep things out there. There's nothing official, right? Officially, I would certainly recommend making sure you're taking the training, do those knowledge labs. Those are great to do the other smaller labs and a couple of blogs. And if I were studying for it, I probably would go through and listen to a bunch of the Academy, the past Academy sessions, particularly on the data collector. I'd go through a lot of them because we talk about things that you should know. Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap up really quickly. So I am going to take over sharing. So thank you, Thomas, for all the enablement guide. In the poll results, I can tell you right now that you opened a lot of people's eyes to a lot of things. So very valuable. Thank you very much. Until we meet again, and we talked about in the questions in the Q&A section. If you have a question, go post in the community. If you want to get a good answer quickly, I recommend reading the 10 points here about how to ask a great question, which does include searching, but adding screenshots, clear title, quick guide. If you're not getting the answers you want, go read this to make sure that you are asking a question that we can answer. This session is going to be posted in the community. All the previous sessions are posted there as well. The presentation, the recordings are there. The presentations are there. So as we talked about before, go back and reference some of these, or we referenced them. If you're looking for something, go browse through what's there and see if it will help you answer your question. In 2 weeks, we'll be back with an intro into the KPI Composer. which is another one of those tools that can really help us set us up for success. So KPI Composer, we'll be talking about how do I use it? Why do I use it? I think we have a great session lined up for then. And one of the questions that had come in, if you have more topics you'd like us to answer, please find the community post that we're asking for questions. Post your topics there. Comment on things that other people have commented on. That'll help you. We go through this to help pick out what should we be talking about. And until we see you again in 2 weeks, again, make sure you're posting your questions to the community. You don't have to wait until the next Academy. Watch those previous recordings, post your ideas in the idea portal, and then go take that training that's out there. Everything that Thomas talked about is available for you all the time. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. So thanks again, Thomas, and we will see you then.